Hello everybody, what's going on? It's me, your Cosmic Dragon VTuber, NJChef. Hello chat, hello kobolds, hello everyone, what's going on? Hope everyone has had an awesome Wednesday afternoon. My day's been very lazy. I've managed to catch a break from the usual business I've been taking care of for a few days. So, yeah. I've managed, or I'm allowed, let's say allowed, I allowed myself some time to just sleep in, and unfortunately, ended up sleeping in maybe a little too much. Let's be real here. Maybe a little too much, but that's fine. That's fine, I call that a win. Hello, Snark Crew. Hello, Ayashi. Love seeing my regulars in chat. What's going on, y'all? What's going on, y'all? Oh, man. Yeah, that's been my day. Took a brunch, and yeah, just snacking some homemade cookies right now, which is great. I'm taking your sleep. God damn it, Ayashi. No, how dare you? I mean, listen, I made the mistake of, like, hyper-focusing on a project last night where I ended up staying up until 4 o'clock in the morning, my time. So I kind of needed the extra sleep today. But I do have to get to bed at a somewhat decent hour tonight because some maintenance people are coming very early tomorrow morning. To replace the filter on my AC unit, which is basic maintenance, yeah, and definitely needed. So yeah, I actually set my alarm quite early to make sure I wake up in time with their arrival, because the last thing I need is this damn thing conking out on me in the middle of the winter, where it's gonna be like freezing snow and driving winds, and I don't want to fucking deal with that. Not happening. Query, why are blood angels the best? Oh, Christy, I believe that's you. The blood angels are a very fun Space Marine chapter if you're into cannibalistic vampire superhuman warriors that are clad in tank armor and are 8 feet tall. Which is, besides the cannibalistic part, basically describes every Space Marine chapter. Or if you're a tryhard, it's me a tryhard. I don't even know, I'll be real, I haven't played a game in 9th edition in a little bit. I don't even know which army, specifically from Space Marines, is considered, air quotes, top tier at the moment. It's definitely not the Salamanders, unfortunately. I love my Salamanders to death, but I know for a fact that they do get outclassed by other armies, as tough as they are. The Guard got some new stuff. The Imperial Guard got some new stuff announced lately, a couple of days ago, actually, which is really neat. Basically a line refresh, and I believe they hinted at a new tank, which we all know how much the Imperial Guard love their tanks. But yeah, if anybody is not entirely familiar with what the hell Warhammer 40K is, boy, you're in for a stream. Cast your mind back, even to before I started the whole VTuber thing. I did model assembly and model painting streams on this channel, and as well as New York Snark Exchange channel. I do want to get back to those. I do want to do those again. I just need a second camera so y'all can look at me and what I'm painting at the same time. Teacher, I have a question before you start. What's up, Ayashi? Actually, you know what? Let me see if I can find something, because I know I have pictures of what I've painted. Give give me a moment. I have pictures of what I've painted, and I definitely do want to show them off. Because I feel like I did a good job on painting these. Yep, here we go. There's a whole bunch of what I've painted in the past. Anything from current projects to past projects. Oh man. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a whole bunch in here. Okay. There's a whole bunch in here. In any case. Do you have to know about Warhammer 1 to Warhammer 39,999 to understand Warhammer 40K? That's a very... excuse me. That's very good, Ayashi. Holy shit. I fucking appreciate that joke, dude. Oh my god, that's incredible. Oh, that's good. That's good. You didn't play Warhammer Quest? Oh my god. I feel my bones aging at the mere mention of Warhammer Quest. Good lord. No, but in general, excuse me, something in my eye. Ow. Okay, we're good. In general, Warhammer 40K specifically refers to one of the two pieces of Warhammer tabletop games / universes that Games Workshop, a company based out of Norwich, England, has been running for the better parts of... Okay, now I need to look this up. Now I need to look this up because this is legitimately something I don't know. How fucking old is Games Workshop? Oh, you played Warhammer Quest when it was new? My god. We need to talk about parallel universes, don't we? See, that's the thing, Ayashi. That's never been confirmed nor denied from Games Workshop. There's plenty of fan theories that say that the worlds of Warhammer 40K and Warhammer Fantasy, now known as Age of Sigmar, are in the same universe, but nothing has ever really been confirmed, but also nothing has ever really been denied either. It's wild. It's wild. Games Workshop, founded in 1975. Right, because they just... Oh, boy. They just celebrated a big milestone, too. Hold on a moment. I'm going to the Warhammer community website. Yep, celebrating 35 years of Warhammer 40,000. Oh my god. Huh. Chat, do you hear that? Do you hear that sound? That is my bones crumbling into dust. That is the sound. That is the sound of my bones crumbling into the ether. Oh my god. But I make a very brief mention of Warhammer Fantasy because that's what they started with. It was very much a tabletop miniatures game. So like miniatures, you'd cut off the sprue, assemble with glue, and then paint yourselves. And then it would have rules to show what would happen, you know, as your army would fight someone else's army, etc., etc. It's a tabletop battle game. It's a tabletop battle strategy game. So they branched out and by they I mean Games Workshop, branched out from Warhammer Fantasy, or Warhammer Fantasy Battles, as it was originally called way back in the day. And they took some of those armies, a human army, an orc army, a dwarf army, an elf army, etc., etc., and they brought them into what they called the far future. If you are familiar at all with the Warhammer 40K memes, it is the grim darkness of the far future, which is a line they repeat a lot in Warhammer 40K lore. Because the 40K in Warhammer 40K actually stands for something. Because in universe, from where we are now in the present day to where, theoretically, if we were in that same universe, where Warhammer 40K occurs is quite literally 40,000 years into the future. And if you're thinking to yourself, okay, 40,000 years into the future, there's got to be some really technologically advanced things going on. You would be right to think that. It's just not in the hands of humanity. Let me put it to you this way. One of the two most common languages spoken by those who survive in the Imperium of Mankind in the realm of Warhammer 40,000 is two variations of Gothic. It's High Gothic and Low Gothic. They think any sort of AI is an abomination, and anything that iterates or improves on a design that has been passed down for millennia is heresy of the highest order. Get used to hearing the word heresy. They like that word a lot too. It's gotten to the point where superstition has superseded any sort of technological advancement humanity has made in the past thousands of millennia. There are people in the Imperium of Mankind who literally will look at something that's self-programmed and say that it is a machine spirit. That is a phrase they use in lore. A machine spirit. Not an AI, not a computer, a machine spirit. The universe where Warhammer 40K takes place is not the clean and almost sort of quasi-utopia one would think of when they envision human society advancing 40,000 years into the future. It's in many ways, it has regressed instead of progressed. It's wild. It's absolutely crazy. There's an interesting single story. I want the author to write more in the universe about a society after a major apocalypse where the remaining humans almost all follow a religion which is absolutely written by someone who is missing some key gears. Manufacturing new spoons is illegal, for example. So people have been known to be killed over taking other people's stuff. Yeah, that... You've basically described the Adeptus Mechanicum in Warhammer 40K. You have definitely described the Adeptus Mechanicum in Warhammer 40K terms. Oh my god. Specifically, wait a second. Yes, specifically the Cult Mechanicus. I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but... I'm gonna tell you, chat, I'm gonna tell you right now. This is definitely gonna be a series of streams. There is no way I will be able to do any sort of deep dive into Warhammer 40K lore that I can fit into one 3 to 4 hour stream. This is gonna be multiple streams. I'm gonna say that up front right now. Because, and I have probably one of the best fan wikis out there, the Lexicanum. Because simply for the fact that there are 4, 8, 12, 16 different factions at war amongst one another and against each other currently in the Warhammer 40K universe. You heard me right, chat. 16 different playable factions. Some of them are just even subdivisions of each other. That's how wild this gets. Buckle up, because we're starting now. So these are the key players in Warhammer 40K as the timeline stands right now. As the timeline stands right now, these are the key major factions in Warhammer 40K. The Imperium of Mankind, the Space Marines, which are the elite warriors of the Imperium. They are basically genetically modified humans. I would not even call them humans anymore with the amount of bodily modification that they go through, excuse me. Chef, what do you mean by that? On average, the average height of a Space Marine stands anywhere between 7 and 8 feet tall. Their rib cage has been fused into a bulletproof bone plate to cover all of their new internal organs. They have 2 hearts, they have 3 lungs, they have 2 different stomachs to filter out poison, they can spit acid, they can even willingly enter a state of unconsciousness to revive themselves from a near-death state. They are literally superhuman. They are literally superhuman. I would not even call a Space Marine human anymore. You have the Astra Militarum, which are your basic human troops, whereas to borrow one of my favorite phrases from Warhammer 40k lore over the years, the Space Marines are the scalpel of the Imperial Army. I got 2 hearts too, the one for my blood and the one you stole from me. Yashi, my goodness. Anyway. To borrow one of my favorite quotes from Warhammer 40k lore, the Space Marines are the scalpel of the Imperial Armed Forces. You send them in as a strike team to specifically complete a handful of objectives and then get out. Losing 1 Space Marine in the process of any sort of war or combat scenario is like losing an entire army. They are that powerful. Whereas the Astra Militarum, the regular rank and file humans of the Imperial Army, they are the sledgehammer of the Imperium. What they lack in the strength and survivability of a Space Marine, they more than make up for in the sheer weight of number of soldiers. When you send in a Space Marine strike team, you're sending in at most 5, 6, maybe 10 Space Marines. You send in an entire regiment of an Imperial Guard, you are looking at tens upon tens of thousands of soldiers, including air support, including artillery pieces, including armored tank columns. Oh yeah. They may be more fragile than a Space Marine, but they are just as brave, if not more so than a Space Marine, dare I say. And I say that as a Space Marine player. A story I will touch on later will greatly illustrate that fact. The Adeptus Mechanicum, or the Cult Mechanicus, as they are usually called. They worship anything and everything that has to deal with automation and machinery. They literally believe in a singular machine god known what they call the Omnissiah. And they believe that flesh, biological flesh, is weak, impure, imperfect. So what they do, quite literally, will start cutting their own limbs off, replacing parts of their own body. Oh, I'm not thinking fast enough? Let me yank out part of my brain and stick a computer in there. Oh, I broke my arm trying to do this one task? Let me cut off my entire arm and attach a robotic arm to it. And while I'm at it, maybe if I add more mechanical tendrils to my body, I can do more tasks more efficiently. That's what they believe in. And they believe in that so fervently that in many stories, when you're talking to an Archmagos, which is the person who runs a manufactorum for the Cult Mechanicus, they don't speak in a voice like I do. They speak in their own language, what they like to call lingua technica, which is basically just a blast of binary code. They literally don't know how to speak like a normal human being anymore. They just speak in what they call the language of the machine, the quote-unquote purest language of the machine god. They are fanatical about machines. It's crazy. We go from now fanaticism surrounding machinery to fanaticism surrounding religion in two of its forms, the Adeptus Sororitas and the Imperial Inquisition. The Adeptus Sororitas are to the Space Marines, so the tech advice channel in our Discord, pretty much, Tom, yes. So the Adeptus Sororitas are basically, if I had to describe the Adeptus Sororitas in a single word, warrior nuns. They are literally warrior nuns because they are an all-female fighting force. They are an all-female fighting force that, yes, are created to serve and uphold basically the religion of the Imperium. Oh, you don't believe that the God Emperor is the end-all, be-all, almighty being that keeps the Imperium from falling apart. Heresy! And then you take a bullet to the fucking dome. They don't mess around. They do not mess around. They're normal humans, right? But they wear power armor like Space Marines, with one exception. Whereas Space Marines have to be trained and have like specific cybernetic implantations to literally integrate themselves with their armor, the Sisters of Battle, the Adeptus Sororitas, just train literally for almost their entire lives to wear a suit of armor that moves just as well as their normal body does. It's fucking wild. It's absolutely fucking wild. They are the ones who uphold the faith. They are the ones who uphold the faith. How tall are they at? Without their armor, average human height. With their armor, that adds about half a foot, maybe to a foot in height. So yeah, warrior nuns in battle armor that are essentially 6.5 to 7 feet tall. Yeah. Yeah. They answer to the Imperial Inquisition. Now, if anyone in chat... Okay, the armor stays on during stepping on me. Yeah. Yeah, that checks. Yeah, that checks. For anyone who's familiar with the Monty Python sketch, No One Expects the Spanish Inquisition, that is the Imperial Inquisition taken to the nth degree. Taken to like the 4 millionth degree. Imperial Inquisitors have one job and one job only. To make sure someone is following the faith of the Imperium And if they're not, kill them. Literally on sight. They are uncompromising in their loyalty and their faith to the Imperium of Mankind and to the God Emperor of Mankind. They have the authority to take any single one of these Imperial factions that we have just talked about now, requisition an army from them, no questions asked, and they have to follow whatever they say. As long as they have the authority of the Imperial Seal and the Imperial Inquisition, every single Imperial citizen must answer the Imperial Inquisition. If you don't, that is tantamount to heresy. And if you're thinking that sounds really shitty and really awful, you're right. Because I'm gonna tell you something right now, chat. I'm gonna tell you something right now. There are 16 playable factions in the universe of Warhammer 40,000. Not a single one of them can be labeled as the quote-unquote good guy. There is no black and white definition of good versus evil in the universe of Warhammer 40k. There is only awful, shitty, slightly less shitty. There's really no clear-cut good guy here. I will say, probably one of the closest things we get to a solid quote-unquote bad guy or bad guy group or bad guy faction in Warhammer 40k are these guys, these beings right here. The forces of chaos. Demons and corrupted human followers of one of the 4 gods of chaos, or just followers of chaos in general. Chaos undivided is a phrase you'll hear a lot when looking up, any sort of the forces of chaos within Warhammer 40k. But in general, there are 4 gods of chaos that rule within the realm of Warhammer 40k. You have Khorne, the Blood God. If you're ever familiar with yet another of many 40k memes, blood for the Blood God, skulls for the Skull Throne, that is a meme that is also the battle cry of Khorne's followers. Because Khorne is the god of blood, the god of war, the god of rage, taker of skulls, lord of battle, master of the brazen throne. It's said that Khorne is probably the oldest of the chaos gods because basically for as long as humanity has existed and the want or the will to harm another being has existed, Khorne has existed. So that's why people say Khorne may very well be the oldest of the Chaos Gods. Next is Nurgle, the god of decay, the Plague Father, the Plague Lord, the Great Corrupter, the Master of Pestilence. Decay, despair, sickness, and death. That is Nurgle's domain. Literally, and chat, this is directly from Warhammer 40k lore. The second you pledge your service to Nurgle, you immediately become infected with every single disease in the entire galaxy. I'm not kidding. That's how Nurgle, quote-unquote, rewards his followers. And here's the funny thing. The followers of Nurgle are disease-ridden zombies. They are literally decaying with every step they take. But they're the happiest, people you could probably ever meet. And like Yami said in chat right now, they will praise Nurgle for it. They will call him names like Papa Nurgle, Father Nurgle, Grandfather Nurgle. Come receive the Father's blessing, is what most Nurgle-aligned Chaos cultists will say. It's a weird dichotomy like that. It's so strange. It's so disgusting and grotesque. And this is why I fucking love 40K. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. And then you have the Lord of Change, the Changer of Ways, the Master of Fortune, the Architect of Fate, Tzeentch. Any psychic power, because both psychic powers and magic are things that exist 40,000 years in the future. We'll get to that, chat. Don't worry, we'll get to that. Tzeentch is the master of all of them. Destiny, grand schemes, bodily mutations, that is all Tzeentch's territory. And by the way, that is the closest I can get to a proper pronunciation of this god's name. I've been saying it Tzeentch this entire time, and no one has corrected me yet, so I'm gonna keep saying it that way. I'm gonna keep saying it that way. Nobody actually really knows what Tzeentch looks like. Nobody really knows what Tzeentch looks like. It just they know he exists because he influences things. He influences his followers. He influences other chaos gods. A lot of the other chaos gods really hate Tzeentch because they'll be doing something that they think is something of their own free will, only to realize that Tzeentch has been manipulating them from behind the scenes this entire time, and then they get really, really mad. Tzeentch is a troll, not just to the greater galaxy, to the wider galaxy, but also to his own followers, and even his own fellow chaos beings. TLDR, Tzeentch, kind of an asshole. And then we get to the youngest chaos god, the one that was birthed most, frequently, or recently. And I say recently with massive air quotes, because whereas Khorne, Tzeentch, and Nurgle have been around probably since creation, Slaanesh, the Prince of Excess, has probably or has only really been conceived by the fall of one of the more powerful races within the 40K faction tree, which is the Eldar. Slaanesh was literally born because the Eldar got way too horny. We'll get there. We'll get there. Lust, greed, excess, pain, pleasure, hedonism, the pleasure seeker, the Prince of Excess. That is Slaanesh. And fun fact, Slaanesh is referred to as he, her, they, or by nothing at all. It is Slaanesh exists for and exists as a personification of the want for excess in all things. And that is, it is absolutely wild. I have to scroll really fast past that because some older art of Slaanesh's followers might very well get me TOS. Particularly the demonettes of Slaanesh. Because, oh boy. Oh boy. There's titty, chat. There's titty. There's a reason why Games Workshop, legally speaking, there's a reason why Games Workshop cannot reprint the old Demonettes of Slaanesh models, and they had to redo the entire line with new models, is because literally they are modeled with one titty hanging out. I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move on before before Twitch comes and bonks me, because yeah, just know, Slaanesh, Prince of Excess. Chaos is just as wide and as diverse as the Imperium itself. Here is where we start getting to a few of many alien, or as they're called, Xenos races in Warhammer 40K. The first being 3 different groups of Eldar, or Eldari. What that means, chat, in the most basic sense, these are space elves. These are space elves. We have 3 flavors of space elf in Warhammer 40K. Let me, oh yeah, Craftworld Eldar, the Dark Eldar, and the Harlequins, yes. The Eldar, or the Eldari, have been around for a long time. In typical elf or elf adjacent faction, they look upon all of the other races in the galaxy and just go, "You damn whippersnappers." They are essentially immortal if they are allowed to live a normal life, but if you still shoot one in the head, it'll die. But its soul, instead of disappearing, will be siphoned off into this jewel right here, what they call a soul gem. And with those soul gems, they can actually imprint that, that person's soul, that Eldar's soul, into like a construct and have it fight on still. It's wild. They have the abilities of they can channel magic, they can channel psychic energy, they can quite literally cause stable warp storms, not the unstable warp storms that chaos sorcerers are famed for, or just chaos in general can summon. They have a much more controlled way of moving through the warp, and we will get to the warp sooner rather than later, trust me. But they used to be part of a much larger galaxy-spanning, galaxy-ruling empire, and then, remember what I said earlier, chat, that the Chaos God Slaanesh was birthed because the Eldar race as a whole got way too horny for their own good? Yeah, I wasn't kidding. The fall of the Eldar set into motion a lot of things that would resonate into where the modern 40K timeline is now. And due to the fall of the Eldar, they were what came afterwards was the Dark Eldar, or what they're known as now as the Drukhari, where the Eldar are like stuck up high elves. If I had to equate them to a fantasy counterpart, because Slaanesh. One thing I forgot to mention about Slaanesh wants the soul of every Eldar that dies. Slaanesh just wants to devour the souls of the entire Eldar race. That's just what Slaanesh wants. The Craftworld Eldar stave off the grasp of Slaanesh by using the Soul Stones and trying to be as basically morally upright in their own mind as possible. The Dark Eldar say, fuck that, let's see if we can outdo Slaanesh by being hornier than Slaanesh. The Dark Eldar will do stuff like a homunculi. Yeah, here we go. The Dark Eldar will do shit like bodily modification like this. This is a Dark Eldar homunculi. They like to call themselves flesh crafters, which is a term that literally makes me shudder every time I have to read it. Are you familiar? Are you familiar with the movie Hellraiser, chat? Are you familiar with the movie Hellraiser? Hellraiser is basically what a homunculus is. Pinhead from Hellraiser would 100% be a Dark Eldar homunculus. 100%. That is what the homunculi are into. And then they'll do stuff like... this, which is a Dark Eldar or a Drukhari incubi or incubus. These things are like the elite Dark Eldar warriors. They know pain, death, and suffering on very, very intimate levels that make me go, no. But you'll also notice they also have soul stones, which is they literally are just going about combating Slaanesh in the exact opposite way that their normal Eldar brethren are. Whereas the normal Eldar are just like, no, we had to abstain from everything. We have to be morally upright. The Dark Eldar are like, fuck it. Let's be hornier than Slaanesh. They can't handle us. Oh my god. That is the two major branches of Eldar. The third. I thought Incubus were like twink demons or something. What happened? The internet, Yashi, the internet happened. Slaanesh snoo? Not the kind of snoo you want, Warlock. No. The Harlequins are an offshoot of the Eldar race, but instead of being as morally uptight as the Eldar, or being as depraved as the Dark Eldar, what the Harlequins instead choose to do is they follow the one surviving Eldar god, because yes, the gods themselves got massacred during the fall of the Eldar. They follow Segorak, the laughing god. And what these guys do is they form into battle groups, what they call troops or dance troops. And they go about the galaxy just annihilating the forces of Slaanesh wherever they pop up. They don't stay on a craft world. They don't stay within Komarog, which is the main city of the Dark Eldar, hidden within the Dark Webway. I'm going to say this a lot. We'll get to the Dark Webway soon. But they will work with both Eldar and Dark Eldar. They just have their own way of going about it. If I could summarize what a Harlequin is, they are specialists. They are assassins of a very, very specific, almost mystical order. Because what a Harlequin is like they have, in order to become a Harlequin, you literally have to, you have to stare the horrors of the warp in the face and just be able to laugh. Some people go mad, others embrace the madness. Harlequins look at the horrors of the galaxy and just start laughing. That in and of itself is kind of disturbing. I'm not gonna lie. That in and of itself is kind of disturbing. It's absolutely crazy. So we have humans, we have demons, we have space elves. Now we get to one of my favorite factions in Warhammer 40K. The Orcs. Sorry, I'm saying that wrong. Chat, give me a second. Da Orcs! Because if you look at an orc speak at all in any sort of Warhammer 40K media, they basically sound like drunk, rowdy football hooligans. They sound like drunk, rowdy football hooligans all the time, and I love them. They're the orcs, and they're the best at fighting, because green is best, and no one has ever beaten an orc one-on-one. Excuse me. The orcs are absolutely hilarious. Remember when I said that an average human would be about, let's say 5.5 to 6 feet tall. Average space marine, armor included, is anywhere between 7.5 and 8 feet tall. Orcs are naturally 7 to 8 feet tall without their armor. They are dumb as rocks, but they can easily rip a human in half, a normal human in half, with their bare hands, let alone their big choppers. That big chopper right there. Orcs. And here's the funny thing, chat. You see how the orc is green? You're thinking to yourself, okay, so it's kind of like orcs from, Lord of the Rings. Fantasy orcs. They're green for the sake of being green. No. Chat. Orcs don't reproduce like humanoid people do. Or humanoid beings do. Orcs are sentient fungi. Let me repeat that to you. Orcs are sentient mushrooms. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. Orcs are literally grown from spores that plants into the ground of a planet, and they will grow and germinate into this. A 7.5 foot tall killing machine. Orcs are toad. Oh no, Yashi. Oh no, I'll never be able to unsee that now. God damn it. Orcs are probably one of my favorite races in the Warhammer 40K universe, for the sole reason that if you look at orc technology, give me a second. I need a good example of this. Where is it? Orc physiology, orc wall, the orc. Oh, here we go. Yes, the orc battle wagon. Here we go. If you look at any sort of piece of orc technology, it looks rusted. It looks ramshackle. It looks like it's being held together by a piece of duct tape, a couple of yards of string, and a dream. This looks like, this looks so poorly built that you would think a stiff breeze would blow it over into a pile of rusted metal. And yet, this is probably one of the most dangerous machines an orc can make, not including Stompas. Why? Because the orcs, as a collective, believe it works. I guarantee you, chat, if you opened up the engine compartment on that battle wagon, you would either find no engine at all, a heavily destroyed and hastily repaired engine, or just a grot running on a hamster wheel. And yet this thing still functions like a war machine. Because collectively, unbeknownst, or maybe they just know and they don't care, orcs have this sort of psychic hive mind that as long as they believe something does what they think it does, that thing will do that thing. If they believe hard enough that this battle wagon functions, it runs properly, and can kill as many of their enemies as they want, then it will do just that. I love the orcs. They're so silly and over the top and off the wall. I love them. They are the best. And here's the kicker, chat. Here's the kicker. They were probably genetically modified by one of the ancient races of Warhammer 40K. They were probably grown to be the perfect warrior to fight against the single oldest race in the Warhammer 40K universe, and quite possibly the most dangerous race in the Warhammer 40K universe. Ladies and gentlemen and non-binary friends, meet the Necrons. So chat, I've got a question for you. What happens when you mix the Terminator with themes of ancient Egypt and weaponry that disassembles anything it hits on a molecular level? You get the Necrons. You get the Necrons. The Necrons are honestly a really fucking cool race in 40K. They're really ridiculously cool. Oh, yo, Kingfisher, congratulations, man. Congratulations. The Necrons are honestly really fucking cool. Because look at this. They fight in massed legions with technology so ancient, no one in the known galaxy currently knows how the fuck it works. Only they do. And if you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, they probably died just as easy as anything else. They kind of just look like metallic skeletons. Technically, you would be right. If you did enough damage to one of these Necron warriors down here, they would crumble where they stand. They would drop their weapon and cease function and just stop. For maybe about 3 seconds. And then that's when you start to notice their body to knit itself back together. That arm you blew off, that Necron warrior, it's slowly being reattached to its torso. The legs you blew off that torso are slowly reattaching themselves. The eyes start glowing again. It picks up its gun, and it just keeps on firing at you like nothing ever happened. The Necrons are functionally immortal. For every one that dies, it will stand right back up, reassemble itself, and keep on fighting. They're literally souls. They are souls of what used to be a humanoid race, now trapped in living metal bodies and forced to fight for literally all eternity. And they've been doing so longer than the Imperium of Mankind has even existed. They serve what are essentially gods that are older than the universe itself. And they are all starting to wake up again. Where the Necrons are in the current timeline of Warhammer 40K, they are starting to wake up again en masse. So it's almost as if Games Workshop is painting the Necrons out on a same tier, on the same threat tier as Chaos, which I kind of like. Which I kind of really like. Okay, chat. Question for you. Who likes space communism? Because if you do, then the Tau Empire is for you. Now, the Imperium of Mankind spans like 2/3 of the galaxy. The Tau Empire maybe spans like 1/10 of that. They are one of the youngest races in the universe of Warhammer 40,000. But the one thing that separates the Tau from the Imperium of Mankind, the Tau are not afraid to upgrade their own technology. Gasp. They are one of the few races in Warhammer 40K that actually still have functioning railgun and anti-gravity technology. They also do something that the Imperium of Mankind and most other races in the Warhammer 40K universe don't like to do unless they really have to. They like to make alliances. Because it's not just the Tau and the Tau Empire, it's the Tau and their allies, the Demiurge, the Kroots, the Vespid. They fight together for what they call the greater good. The greater good. And the coolest thing about the Tau, I'm courting heresy when I say this, but the coolest thing about the Tau is their battle suits, because they are the only race in the entire Warhammer 40K universe that employs some form of piloted mech. You got their smallest ones, which is the XV02 pilot battlesuit, the stealth battlesuit, which is a little bigger, the ubiquitous XV8, the much heavier XV88 broadside, the upgraded XV805 Enforcer, and the massive, absolutely massive XV104 Riptide. And I know what you're saying, chat. I know what you're probably all thinking to yourselves, and believe me, every single Warhammer 40K fan out there thought the same exact thing when the tower first introduced. Yes. That does look like a Gundam. You're absolutely right. That 100% looks like a fucking Gundam. But it's not. Not all with the Tau is as it seems. Not all with the Tau is as it seems. Because of these beings within the Tau hierarchy themselves. The Ethereals. Tau leaders who are said to so embody the will of the greater good and the Tau unity that the Tau themselves would absolutely collapse without them. They have a very strict caste system, and at the top of that caste system are the Tau Ethereals, the leaders of the Tau Empire. And nobody really knows why the Tau are so fanatical to the Ethereals, because many tests have been done on Tau warriors, and they're not psychically active in the warp at all. They don't register in the warp at all. So why are the Tau so fanatical for these Ethereals? Well, let's take a look at something here, chat. You see that little gap in the forehead of every single Tau? Because this is what a Tau looks like. That might be some sort of pheromone receptor. Now, what a lot of people are theorizing is that the Ethereals are quite literally controlling their Tau warriors through pheromones, which would also explain how fucking fanatical they are to one another. And now here's another thing. Because humans can defect from other places, like from worlds controlled by the Imperium, and join the Tau. The only problem is, and this was in old Tau lore. I'm not sure if it's a new Tau lore, but human colonies who have pledged to join the Tau Empire, for whatever reason, have started seeing their human population decrease, whereas the population of their Tau neighbors increase. It's been heavily implied, but never confirmed, that the Tau somehow end up sterilizing their human allies to prevent them from growing in number and outnumbering their Tau counterparts. Is that absolutely fucked up? Yes. Welcome to Warhammer 40K. No one on this list is as good as they seem. Not a single goddamn faction here is as good as they make themselves out to be. Now, chaos is an extension of something natural happening in the galaxy, and the Necrons are an old race who are looking to recapture a galaxy that they once conquered and once controlled. The Tyranids are probably the closest thing in the Warhammer 40K universe that we have to an animalistic threat. Because the Tyranids are an alien race that exist beyond the galaxy in which Warhammer 40K takes place. They are actually invading the galaxy from wild space. And any planet they come across, all of the biomass on that planet is taken, stripped away, ingested by the Tyranid hive mind to spit out more warriors to grow their fleet and to move on to the next planet and do it all over again. They adapt probably the best to any threat they come across. Because if you manage to defeat a Tyranid hive fleet, it will come back and it will evolve new ways to counter the ways in which you used to defeat them. And they will just keep on coming back and keep on raiding and taking the biomass of planet to grow more Tyranids, to increase the size of the swarm, increase the size of the hive fleet, and will just devour and leave nothing in their wake, and that's all they want to do. That is all they want to do. Devour, evolve, grow stronger, repeat. They are controlled by a literal hive mind. There is no one controller, there is no one ruler of the Tyranids. What one Tyranid thinks, every Tyranid thinks. They are terrifying, and they are probably yet another massive, massive threat to the galaxy. And here's the terrifying thing, chat. They have help. The Tyranids have help. Chef, what do you mean the Tyranids have fucking help? The Tyranids don't need help. The Tyranids will get help no matter what. Because the Tyranids, through an offshoot of one of their broods called Gene Stealers, can infect a population of the world, of a world they come across, turning them into Gene Stealer hybrids. Gene Stealer human hybrids that will rise up and sow chaos and pandemonium across whatever world they rise up on. They will take over the world, exterminate the defenders to the last man, or even infect those who survive to create yet more Gene Stealer hybrids. And once the world is under their control, they will send out a psychic beacon to the nearest Tyranid fleet, telling them, hey, there's a world here. It's under our control. We have all of its biomass. Now come take it. That in and of itself is absolutely terrifying, because you've got body horror, you have eldritch horror, and then you've got like mind control and like body snatching on top of all of that. The Gene Stealer cults are absolutely insidious. They are absolutely insidious because they hide in plain sight until the mutations start kicking in. Because you've got this dude right here, the Gene Stealer Patriarch. He's the one that gives all the psychic signals to the rest of the Gene Stealer hybrids, telling them, hey, go capture more people, go grow the cult, go, take over that military garrison over there so we can use the planet-killing technology and weaponry they have against this own planet. And then I will use the psychic beacon to call down the rest of the Tyranids and consume this entire planet. Just take all of its biomass. Tyranids are absolutely insidious. Absolutely insidious. Oh my god. So now we come to the final playable faction and the most recently introduced faction. Or should I say, the most recently reintroduced faction. Friends, say hello again to the Leagues of Votann. Or if you're an old Warhammer 40K player like me, you can call them by their original name, the Squats. What is a squat? Well... okay, I need to... Yeah, okay, here we go. I need to put these two pictures side by side so you kind of get this comparison, chat. I need to put these two pictures side by side. When the Squats were first introduced to Warhammer 40K, they were literally space dwarves. Oh yeah, just literal space dwarves. I love them. They're so dumb looking. They're so stupid looking. But I kind of love them. In their original lore, they're abhumans, you know, like an offshoot of humanity. They landed on worlds that you had high gravity, which explained their short stature and their stoutness. Like, average human height, 5 to 6 feet, possibly 7 feet tall. Average Space Marine height, 7 to 8 feet tall. Average squat height, I don't know, anywhere between 4 to 5 feet tall, 4.5 feet at best. They're short. They're literally space dwarves. They're kind of cool. And by 3rd edition, they had just entirely disappeared from the Warhammer 40K lore and timeline. Every single book, every single codex, every single lore book from 3rd edition until now, until 9th edition, ignored or just outright retconned the existence of squats entirely. Until 9th edition, when the Leagues of Votann finally made their return. They're still kind of space dwarves, but now they're like really sort of like heavy metal looking space dwarves. Now why, Chef, if you're probably curious, if they're an offshoot of humanity, why the hell are they all the way down here when humankind is up here? Well, that's because the Leagues of Votann, by the time they separated from humanity during the golden age of exploration in the Warhammer 40K timeline, they are now so separated from humans that they're basically kind of not human anymore. They're really not. They're their own race. And as a matter of fact, if the page will load, thank you. They're a race of clones. A long time ago, the squat ancestors realized the only way to fight mutation, demonic possession, and just the frailty of their own bodies was just to clone themselves and then genetically select the perfect, what they call clone scheme, and just copy that one over and over again for the most stable physical body they can grow. Chef, that's eugenics. Yes, I'm very well aware that's eugenics. I am very well aware of that fact. Again, not every race in this game is as good as you think they are. They're terrible. Eugenics, xenophobia, totalitarianism, all of that exists in some form or fashion in every single one of these races and factions in Warhammer 40K. It's bad. It's very bad. But yeah, space dwarves. Space dwarves. That is probably the best sort of primer I can give in terms of all the playable factions in Warhammer 40K. It is a game that has existed for over 35 years, for a company that's existed close to 40 at this point. And now, we are going to start with the actual deep dive, as it were. If I can just find... Here it is. There it is. At the very beginning. At the very beginning. Or as close to the beginning as we can find. So. Welcome to the deep dive of Warhammer 40K proper. I am going to go grab something to drink, because I've been talking for a long time, and we've literally only just scratched the surface, chat. We've literally only just scratched the surface. I'll be right back. Buckle up, y'all. Alright, chat, hello! I am back. Hope y'all got something to drink, and definitely hope y'all got yourself a snack. Because like I mentioned earlier, we have literally only just scratched the surface of Warhammer 40K lore. Because now, strap yourselves in, chat. Welcome to the Warhammer 40K timeline. Hi, Bird Portrait, what's going on? How are you? How are you? How are you? I hope you're doing well. We're doing a deep dive into Warhammer 40K lore. You're probably wondering yourself, Chef, what do you mean you're just starting? You've been live for almost an hour and a half. Well, yeah. That was an hour and a half of explaining all the different factions. Now we've got the timeline proper. I did mention, chat, I did mention. This is probably going to be just one of many streams in which we take deep dives into Warhammer 40K lore. Because, ooh boy, ooh boy. Ooh boy, it's a lot. It is a lot. So yeah, in general, the timeline for Warhammer 40K is divided up into sections like this: M, and then a number. M being millennium, and the number being that millennium. This is the full timeline of Warhammer 40K in which it takes place, meaning we are in the 42nd millennium since the inception of Warhammer 40,000. And you see this little block right here, Ancient History? That's technically where we are right now. Anything that has happened up to present day is just lumped in here because 42 millennia into the future, record keeping is gonna be a little loose, let's say. Yeah, here's what I know. My friend got drunk on Discord once and explained several novels to me. What I learned is that the Emperor had been just a half-decent father. None of this shit would have ever happened. Oh, Bird Porn, you were absolutely correct. The Emperor had the Emperor had 20 sons, lost 2 of them, and had the remainder of the 18 get into a civil war that literally split the galaxy in half. Good job! Good job, buddy! You did it! You did it! Okay. So, the ancient history of Warhammer 40K, I'm going to keep this brief, but there's still some really weird notes in here. Don't send your sons to planets or they'll be sold into slavery. It's easy, right? You think he'd know that, but no. I'm gonna send my son to a planet that's covered in noxious smog. I'm gonna send my other son to a planet where it's lava, just like 90% lava. I'm gonna send my other son to a planet that's literally run by criminals. He literally sent one of his sons to Space Australia. I don't understand why. Why would you send your son to Space Australia and then wonder why he became a psychotic killer? Why? Emperor, hello. I just want to note something here, chat. Shortly after the birth of the universe, the first sentient life to appear in this galaxy were star vampires? Excuse me? I love how stupidly over the top Warhammer 40K lore is. Oh my god. Star vampires, which we would later know to be the Catan. Which we would later know to be the Catan, which are the gods that control the Necrons. Star vampires, aren't those black holes? Possibly. Iyashi, yes. Hey, Kay, what's going on, dude? Are you shit-talking the Catan? No, I'm just saying how when they were first written, they were literally called star vampires, which I think is absolutely hilarious to me. I think that's hilarious to me. Oh my god. Funny ancient nomenclature aside, the Catan are legitimately one of the more powerful things probably in the Warhammer 40K universe. Let's be real here. They literally feed on stars. They can tear reality open with a thought. The Catan are not to be messed with. The Catan are absolutely not to be messed with. Then you have the old ones, which God Emperor of Mankind and Chaos aside. Oh, thank you so much for the 3 months of Tier 1, Bird Portland. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for getting to sub, but I got better. No worries. Thank you so much, Bird Portland. I appreciate that. The old ones, barring the God Emperor of Mankind, barring the Gods of Chaos, barring the Tyranids for that matter, the old ones are probably the most relevant species or group of entities to ever grace the galaxy and wider universe of Warhammer 40K. Because they were the first ones to go into space, they were the first ones to map out the galaxy, they were the first hyper-advanced civilization to conquer the known galaxy, and possibly even beyond the known galaxy. Possibly even beyond the known galaxy. It's heavily implied they've done that, but it's neither been confirmed nor denied because Games Workshop's writing team likes to leave things open-ended. For reasons. Chaos isn't real, Biggie isn't a god, Nids are just ultra roaches, squats are extinct, were extinct. The Wog is forever, yes. I don't mention the Tower of the Eldar, because fuck that beta cuck shit, although town battlefields are kind of fire though. Yeah, that checks. That checks. But like all galactic empires, what the old ones eventually made fell apart entirely. Because of this, the war in heaven, the Necrontyr, who would eventually become the Necrons, rebelled against the old ones and like, no. No. We want our own lives. We want our own power. We're gonna defy the old ones. And they did, essentially. Except, unbeknownst to them, they also kind of entered slavery under the Catan. Although, also to the Necrontyr's credit, they also overthrew the Catan and subjugated them. So, yeah, honestly, Necron's kind of badass. Holy shit. If you want to make any old head 40k fan cringe, one word. Oh my god, Kay. Oh my god, dude. Bruh. Man. Yeah. Mission successful, Kay. Holy shit. Also, my god, I feel old now. My god, I feel old now. But, oh, boy. That thing, exactly. Jesus H. Christ. So, a lot of the earliest history of the Warhammer 40k galaxy at large surrounds the war between the Catan and the Necrontyr against the Old Ones and the subsequent rebellion of the Necrontyr against the Catan. But eventually, we get to this, yes, 65 million years ago, which just so happens to coincide with the extinction event that killed the dinosaurs on Earth, just saying. But this also coincides with the rise of the Eldar Empire, the old Eldar Empire. With the Necrons dormant, and with the Old Ones defeated, and the Catan sealed away, the Eldar Empire would prosper. They would prosper and thrive, and then they themselves would go on to conquer the known galaxy. They even built a safer, or discovered rather, because it was the Old Ones, right? It was the Old Ones who built the webway. The Eldar discovered it and used it. They would utilize the webway to safely transverse the warp. We need more quirks. Changing my mind. The genuine article. Yeah, no, dude, I agree. The old orcs. Oh yeah, like the OG. Absolutely. So I'm gonna pause here because I need to talk about the one thing that has literally been mentioned a gajillion times. Even when I was doing a summary of the factions of Warhammer 40K. We need to talk about the warp. Or if you really just want to summarize it in one phrase, space hell. Warp space, the Immaterian, the ether, the sea of souls, the realm of chaos. What is the warp? Well, it's another dimension where, you know, those 4 gods of chaos and all the demons that that exist in this world, this universe of Warhammer 40K. This is where they originate from. This is the warp, the realm of chaos. It is a place of just pure madness and energy. And it is also the only way to travel faster than light. You have to go through the warp. Let me summarize it this way for you, chat. In Star Trek, you utilize the warp core and the warp nacelles to bend space-time around the spacecraft. And it's within that bent space-time bubble where you achieve speeds faster than the speed of light. Right? In Star Wars, you use a hyperdrive to accelerate your craft fast enough to enter hyperspace, which is the only other dimension in Star Wars that allows faster than light travel, right? Okay. In Warhammer 40K, you literally have to tear open a hole in reality, throw your ship into the warp, somehow bypass all the demonic possession and warp energy, and then that is how you go faster than light in the Warhammer 40K universe. Can your entire crew of the ship be possessed by demons? If your Geller field fails, absolutely. Can your ship be lost in the warp and be spit out thousands of years later than it was expected to arrive? Absolutely. Can you just be lost in the warp and never exit? Absolutely. Those are the risks that you take with warp travel, but it is the only way to travel faster than light in the universe of Warhammer 40K. You literally have to throw your ship through hell to go faster than the speed of light. It is absolutely wild. Literally tear open a hole in reality. Make sure your shields hold. Enter the warp. Navigate the absolute tides of chaotic energy and demonic realms. And just throw yourself through that literal chaos and hope you come out on the other side in one piece and also in the right location, and also hope that not too much time has passed. There's a great short story in Warhammer 40K of a war fleet entering the warp, responding to a call for aid. They enter the warp. They lose a few ships on the way there, naturally, because that's just the dangers of warp travel. But they exit only to find the planet that was calling for aid now entirely destroyed, and also a haven for warp demons and chaos soldiers and chaos space marines. They literally exited the warp centuries after that call for aid was sent out. And then they just got completely annihilated because the planet they were supposed to save was now attacking them. That is the warp. That is the literal other dimension that exists beyond the bounds of real world, beyond the bounds of real space in Warhammer 40K. That is the only safe way to travel great distances at faster than the speed of light. Unless you're the fucking Eldar. Unless you're the fucking Eldar, because the Eldar have a fucking cheat code to get across the galaxy safely. The Eldar have the Webway. The Webway are literal tunnels. Psychic tunnels. Built into the warp. And you just... It's... How can I explain this without blowing your minds too badly? It's a psychic highway system. It's literally just a psychic highway system. You open up Mario pipes. Literal warp pipes. God damn it. Literal warp pipes. Oh my god. Yashi just blew my mind. Holy fuck. The warp. So Twitter. More like pre-porn banned Tumblr. Twitter has length limits. Fair, Rich. Fair. Also, hey buddy, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. Yeah, no, that's basically what it is. It's just a highway of psychic pipelines that let you navigate one end of the galaxy to another at any point in between, while entirely ignoring the chaos ridiculousness of the warp. Sometimes. Because demons can breach the webway. They have a really hard time doing it, but it is possible for demons to breach the webway. Tzeentch, and specifically Magnus the Red, have been looking for their own way into the webway. The Dark Eldar city of Komarog is located somewhere deep within the webway itself. The legendary Black Library of Chaos, a book of a literally library of knowledge that is said to contain the accumulated knowledge of every sentient species in the galaxy, past, present, and future, exists in the webway as well, and everyone's been trying to find that for centuries. Good luck trying to get there, though, because the Eldar are incredibly protective of the webway system. They didn't build the webway, mind you. They didn't build the webway. The old ones are the ones who built the webway. The Eldar just sort of rediscovered it after the fall of the Eldar Empire. Or even before, yeah. It's the Eldars now, and they're not keen on sharing, is what I'm trying to say. But that detour, I had to explain the warp. I couldn't keep going in the timeline of Warhammer 40K without at the very least mentioning what the warp was, because it's absolutely fucking wild. Some would even say chaotic, because duh. Does the warp ever breach into real space? Absolutely. Warp storms and warp rifts. Warp storms and warp rifts. Warp storms are just like little tears in the fabric of reality where the pure essence of chaos within the warp just sort of spills out into real space. And then that's how you get demons. That's how you get demons in real space. That is how you get demons in real space. As a matter of fact, jumping ahead a little bit in the Warhammer 40K timeline, because I just need to show you how big warp rifts and warp storms can get. There is no concept of harmony in the Warhammer universe, is there? Absolutely not. There's no concept of harmony, togetherness, or really even peace in Warhammer 40K. It is just war, suffering, death, and destruction, as far as the eye can see. Yeah. Great game system. Very fun game system. Terrifyingly depressive lore. So, if anyone is wondering, hey, Chef, how big can a warp rift get? Oh, I don't know. How about a warp rift so large it literally tore the galaxy in half? This is the Cicatrix Maledictum, the Great Rift. And in the Warhammer 40K timeline, this is the current state of the galaxy. Terra, Earth, is here. This warp rift has literally split the galaxy in two. This is what the current state of Warhammer 40K looks like. The galaxy is just rife with warp tears and warp storms and demonic infestation. It's bad. It's bad. You can, amazingly, you can still get from this half of the galaxy over onto this half of the galaxy, what they call Imperium Nihilus, or the Dark Imperium, because they are literally cut off from this other half of the galaxy. The only safe way to get through the Great Rift is here and here. Those are the only two known safe ways to get through the galaxy. Because if you try to go through this, you're going to be sucked into the warp, never to return at all. Never to return at all. Because, believe it or not, the Chaos actually succeeded in taking care of business here. We'll get to that. Oh, we'll get to that. Can they just fly over the warp? Why can't they simply just fly over it? Exactly. But I had to mention that. I had to mention the warp. I had to mention warp storms and all the warp phenomena. Because that is going to come into play much later. Believe me, much later. Utterly, utterly, utterly wild. So, for a while, the galaxy was just sort of existing, kind of in a state of limbo. The Eldar are in control. Humanity is barely a blip on the radar. We're literally just like, I believe early Iron Age at this point. We know nothing beyond our own planet. But it's at this point where three very, very important things start happening on the tiny little mud ball known as Earth, soon to be known as Terra. At some unknown point in Earth's history and humanity's history, perpetuals begin as an offshoot of humanity. And what a perpetual is essentially immortal. A human, but immortal. How immortal? They could be blasted to a single atom and reconstitute and reconstruct themselves to another living, fully living human being from that one atom. That's important point number one. Excuse me. Important point number two. Important point number two is that around our time of 8000 BC, the being who would become the emperor of mankind is finally born. You're probably asking yourself, Chef, you mentioned this person at least in passing. What makes him so important? Well, physically, the strongest human being to ever live. Psychically, the strongest psyker that has ever lived in the history of mankind. And he is the one who not only united humankind on Earth, but also got them to come together and leave Earth. Because with the birth of the Emperor, we finally enter the Age of Terra, a united Earth, or as is also mentioned, the Golden Age of mankind. This is where this is probably the only instance of humanity actually having some form of utopia. Because during the Golden Age of mankind is when all of mankind's biggest and most impressive feats come to fruition. The human race is united on Earth. They come together. They colonize the solar system in record time. Colonies are established on Mars, the moons of Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune. And it's then that they start to set their sights beyond the solar system and they want to start exploring the galaxy at large. And it is unfortunately also during this time where a lot of people point to the genesis of the first three gods of chaos: Khorne, Nurgle, and Tzeentch. Because here's the thing, the warp wasn't always a realm of chaos and destruction. What the warp is a psychic sort of like other dimension that reflects upon beings in the materium. God of war, God of decay, God of change, anger, sloth, knowledge, perverted and twisted concepts of the human mind. That is probably what gave birth to the gods of chaos in the first place. Humanity, in their zeal to further their own lives, to further their own technology, to fuel their own want and love of exploration and colonization, accidentally gave birth to the three most disgusting and powerful beings in the galaxy. It's a mirror of each other, and it's this whole concept of humanity being their own worst enemy. Oh boy, let me tell you, it only gets worse from there. Because after the Golden Age, you have what is known by most Imperial scholars as the Dark Age of technology. This is when mankind's zeal for technology and just technological advancement starts to really peak, starts to hit its highest point. The Dark Age of technology, NFTs, AI art, LinkedIn. My god, you're right, Ayashi. You're absolutely correct. Oh no. So, the Dark Age of technology is kind of good and kind of bad for humanity at this point, because like this is where they start getting the technology to leave the solar system and start colonizing worlds beyond the solar system, to start spreading colonies out to the wider, unknown, at this point, unknown galaxy, right? That's good. That's a cool thing. Deep space exploration is really nice. Here's where the shit starts hitting the fan. Here's where the shit starts hitting the fan. Here we are. Here's the thing I'm looking for. Although a golden age in terms of scientific achievement, because of the catastrophic effects following the Age of Strife, which we will get to, mankind has since come to regard scientific knowledge as both abhorrent and dangerous. The Age of Technology is thusly considered dark in the Imperium's current age. It is considered a dark age because mankind during the Age of Technology is starting to worship science as God. This is where the roots of the cult mechanicum start to take roots. I could have worded that better, sorry. They stop looking at scientific advancement as something that they can do. They start looking at scientific advancement as some sort of deific holy act is what I'm trying to say. They start to look at it as some sort of holiness, we can't do anything technologically ourselves. It has to be blessed upon us. It has to be gifted to us. This is when humanity starts losing their fucking minds a little bit. Not even a little bit, maybe a lot bit. It gets worse, chat. That is a phrase I'm going to repeat for probably the remainder of the entire timeline of Warhammer 40K. It gets worse. Because it always gets worse. Rewinding a bit. Yes, the Age of Strife. The Age of Strife. Because what follows the Dark Age of Technology. Oh, there are also things very important things I have to mention that occurred during the Dark Age of Technology. Humanity gets their first encounter with two other major players of the wider galaxy. It is during the Dark Age of Technology when humanity has their first encounter with the Orcs and the Eldar. The orcs, they don't care. They're just like, oh, okay, they're just squishy little humies. We'll crump them and steal their stuff, just like that. Because the orcs are the orcs. The Eldar, because they're gifted with foresight. Remember, they are gifted with foresight. They can gaze into the future. They see the heights of the achievements that humanity will achieve, and they will see just how badly humanity is gonna destroy the galaxy at large. And they look at the humans now, and they're just like, we need to keep an eye on them. At the very least, we should probably try and guide them onto a better path so they don't go down the road of this horrible, horrible future that we are witnessing. Spoilers, it happens anyway, because humanity is dumb. Spoilers, it happens anyway, because humanity is dumb. Alright, good. Another thing that happens during the Dark Age of Technology is the first instance of, where did that just go? There it is. A human psyker. Psykers are what the Warhammer 40K beings refer to, beings that are connected to the warp, that have psychic ability. And the only way in the Warhammer 40K universe to have any sort of psychic ability is to be connected to the warp and then draw on the power of the warp to do whatever it is you want to do. You want to make that thing levitate, you gotta draw power from the warp through your body and then manifest that into something in the real world. Here's the issue. Here's the issue with that. You're drawing on the power of the warp, which means you're technically opening a small hole into the warp within your own body, within your own soul, to channel the energies of the warp, right? What else is in the warp? Demons. A demon could see you channeling warp power, see it as a window into the real world, jump into your soul, possess your body, and then all of a sudden, oh god, demonic possession. You called it, Ayashi. Yeah, you called it exactly. So, humanity, while they know psychers are not necessarily evil because they've seen the Emperor and his psychic ability, they've seen the Navigators, which are the people who use warp energy to guide ships safely through the warp. They know psychers aren't necessarily bad. They just treat psychers and anyone who possesses some sort of psychic ability, they treat them as mutants. People who they just want to keep at arm's length. And just like, you're useful to me, but I don't want to associate with you any more than I need to because you're just kind of weird. Wow, X-Men really did fucking call that, huh? X-Men really did fucking call that. Holy shit. And the final very, very important thing that happens during the Dark Age of technology, it has no bearing on the current timeline of Warhammer 40K. I just like to mention this because it blows people's minds whenever I mention this. The end of the Dark Age of technology and the beginning of the Age of Strife began with the same instance. The rise of the Men of Iron. What are the Men of Iron, Chef? Robots! The Warhammer 40K universe, Earth specifically, had to deal with their own robot uprising. Because the robots they created to help serve humanity gained sentience and wanted to overthrow their creators. Skynet, in some fashion, exists in 40K. The Men of Iron Chef seems like an entirely different problem. Absolutely, Rich. Absolutely. That is what led to the Age of Strife. Humanity had to band together and to destroy not just the robot, but the AI that was controlling the robots. And that is what put the fear of God, of self-sentient machines, into humanity. From this point forward, humanity would never trust another sentient machine ever again. As a matter of fact, fast forward to the Cult Mechanicus, the Mechanicum of Mars, they would outlaw, absolutely 100% outlaw sentient thinking machines to the point that they would declare tech heresy. Any sentient machine that was discovered by the Cult Mechanicus on Mars would be destroyed, and its creator immediately put to death or exiled. It is absolutely wild. That one moment essentially changed the course of humanity for a long, long ass time. It is one of those moments in Warhammer 40K where it's just like, had things gone different here, maybe we'd see more robots in modern 40K. Nope. Not at all, because everyone is fucking terrified of sentient thinking machines now. Absolutely not. No. So between a sentient machine uprising, mutations growing within humankind, psychic abilities manifesting in certain humans, it is a very chaotic, anarchy-filled time in Imperium. Because at this point, they're looking at all of their technology that has any form of sentience, and they're just destroying it. All of the advancements that humankind made during the Golden Age of mankind are being basically factory reset. Like, they're taking all of that away. They're only keeping the essentials, the things that they want and need to stay alive. Stuff that produces food, stuff that purifies water, stuff that makes houses, and most importantly, stuff that gets them through the warp safely. This is the lowest point in human history. Right here is the Age of Strife. But, oh, and concurrently to that, sorry, pardon me, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. During the Age of Strife ends in a massively climactic fashion. And here's the funny thing, chat. Humanity, because at this point they've extended their reach to the entire galaxy, right? The end of the Age of Strife, humanity didn't even have a hand in it. It was the Eldar. Because the end of the Age of Strife coincides with the fall of the old Eldar Empire. And, as I mentioned earlier, the birth of the chaos god Slaanesh. So, in brief summary, the Eldar gave in to their hedonistic desires. The Eldar gave into their hedonistic desires, so much so that the psychic backlash of that not only birthed a chaos god, but opened up what was at the time the largest stable warp rift at the time. The Eye of Terror. That is a planet. That is the Eye of Terror. This thing is huge. This thing formed because Slaanesh was birthed because the Eldar got way too horny for their own good. The Eldar got way too fucking horny for their own good. And the psychic backlash from that basically cut off all of the colonies of humankind. So it affected not just the Eldar Empire, but the nascent human... At this point, it's not even a human empire. It's just sort of like humanity just spreading out, doing their own thing across the galaxy. They're not united. Yet. Because here is where we return to our old friend, the Emperor of Mankind. Because this motherfucker steps up to the plate and decides, okay, I've done it before. I will do it again. I will unite humanity and take back what we have lost. And that is what begins on Earth, which is now, mind you, is now completely isolated from the rest of the galaxy because of this massive, massive warp storms. So as Earth is isolated from all its other human colonies across the galaxy, they descend into what they like to call here techno-barbarism. Think like Mad Max, but worse. Like Mad Max levels of what the fuck to the nth degree. The Emperor decides, okay, I fucking need to get humanity's shit back together. And the first step into doing that is to reunite Earth. Reunite Terra under one banner. Naturally, his own banner. Mind you, we are now 29 millennia removed from the beginning of the timeline. Just to give a basic length of what has been happening in the Warhammer 40K universe so far. So, through the Wars of Unification, the Emperor finally manages to get all of Earth, all of Terra, now called Terra, under his own banner, under his own control. He is declared, and depending on which side of the lore you read, he is either declared the Emperor of Mankind or declares himself the Emperor of Mankind. Either way, very totalitarian. Either way, extremely totalitarian. But a very, very specific thing I need to mention during the Wars of Unification for the Emperor of Mankind is the fact that he's able to defeat the Techno-Barbarians, and this is a short list of all the Techno-Barbarian tribes that exist on Earth at this time. He's able to defeat them by using genetically engineered super soldiers that he created himself. And he has created 2 of types of those warriors. The Thunder Warriors, which are basically the prototype Space Marine. What would become the prototype Space Marine. Genetically enhanced humans. Legions of them. Loyal just to the Emperor. But the Emperor eventually did find out that the Thunder Warriors had a very specific flaw. They would burn themselves out. They would burn themselves out and they would fight until their body would just give out. Was the first problem. The second problem, he realized that an army this large needs to be controlled, and a lot of the Thunder Warriors didn't want to be under the Emperor's yoke anymore. So, instead of being a reasonable planetary dictator, the Emperor goes the opposite route and says, okay, I'll make an even more elite unit of soldiers, genetically modified soldiers, but this time they're going to be loyal only to me. Enter the Adeptus Custodes, the Golden Horde. Warriors so powerful that it's said that they contain a fragment of the Emperor's genetic code itself. That's why they're so fucking powerful. So with the combined force of the Thunder Warriors and the Adeptus Custodes, the Emperor reunites Earth, and then all of the Thunder Warriors mysteriously disappear. I'm kidding, chat. I'm kidding. They didn't mysteriously disappear. They were slaughtered wholesale by the Adeptus Custodes because the Emperor found a way to make the Thunder Warriors better, and he just decided he didn't need the Thunder Warriors anymore. So he decided to get rid of them. Emperor of Mankind, kind of shitty. Emperor of Mankind, kind of shitty. Kind of shitty dude. So, with all that in mind, with Earth, the moon, because believe it or not, the moon was basically a separate entity of Earth from now, the Emperor gets Earth, the moon, and Mars back under his control, because Mars, at this point, 29 millennia into the future, has become what is known as a forge world. That's where all of the machinery and technological, advancement is being made under the watchful eye of the cult mechanicus. The people who's replaced their limbs because, oh, the flesh is weak, I can do this better by giving myself cybernetic implants and more robotic limbs, etc., etc. Those people basically control all of Mars now. And the Emperor after reuniting Earth and the Moon, or Terra and Luna, they go to Mars. He strikes a deal with the Cult Mechanicus. Like, okay, I need XYZ for the plan to go back out. I need a whole bunch of technology, weapons, and vehicles to go back out into the wider galaxy and retake everything that was once humanity's. And after speaking with the leaders of the Cult Mechanicus agrees, like, okay, fine, yeah, we'll help you out. Mostly because there were some people within the Cult Mechanicus at this time who saw the Emperor not just as a deity, but as a personification of their deity, the machine god, the Omnissiah. So it's just like, you see this very strange blending of technological advancement, magic, and religion, and it's a mess. It's a mess, and it's about to get messier. So, with all of that set, with all the pieces in place, the Emperor embarks upon what he calls the Great Crusade. Starting in the Sol system, with Earth, the Moon, and Mars, the Emperor sets out across the wider galaxy to find all the worlds lost during the Great Age of Strife and return them into the Imperial fold. He wants to reunite all of humanity. If they say yes, then all the better. Fine, welcome back. You're home. Welcome back to humanity. Isn't humanity the best? If they say no, well, I guess we'll just have to subjugate you anyway. It's very, it's very, oh dear. Oh no. And in order to make sure that he has an army, that he has the proper armies to do this, he creates two very important things. Chat, two very important things that resonate to the modern Warhammer 40K. He begins the Primarch project, and he begins the creation of the Space Marine Legions. Now, I'm not gonna dwell too much on this, but something I've noticed in all the years I've been playing Warhammer 40K, if you look at the structure of a Space Marine Legion, it is eerily similar to the way that a Roman Legion was made back in the day. It is eerily similar. Like, oh dear. TBH Thunder Warrior is a way cooler name than Space Marine. I agree. Space Marine is like the colloquial name, like if I were to use in-universe terminology. Space Marine is what a commoner would call a Space Marine, because they would use the low Gothic, like the commoner's term. That's a Space Marine. People in the know, people who speak High Gothic, who are up the ladder, who are like commanders within the Space Marine chapters or the Space Marine Legions, or aristocrats who are higher up within the structure of Terra, they would use the High Gothic, which would be the Adeptus Astartes. That's what a Space Marine is technically called. The Adeptus Astartes, like the Golden Horde, the Custodian Warriors, the Custodian Guard, their technical name is the Adeptus Custodes. It's very... there's a lot of Latin. If you read enough of this game's lore, you start learning a lot of Latin. Which is something I never thought I was going to do. But there's one... Give me a moment, chat. There's one video. There's one video I need to show you, because it shows just how complex arming a Space Marine for war actually is. And keep in mind, these are 7.5 foot tall genetically modified human beings.
And then they go through this whole armoring process, and Games Workshop wasn't kind enough to actually animate this process for us, and it blows my mind how fucking complex it is. Give me a second here. Yes, here it is. Here's the video. The armoring of a space marine. Here it is. So, okay. I need to do two things. I need to, first of all, I need to mute my BGM. And then I gotta go into my audio sources. There we go. Okay. Okay, there we go. BGM has been muted. Yes, BGM has been muted. Okay. Volume for the internet window is up. Okay, chat. When I made mention in passing earlier that the death of one space marine was tantamount to basically losing an entire army in the process, this is what I mean. This is why. This is why. Also, welcome to the insanity that is 40K in a nutshell right here.
I accept these burdens as the Imperium bleeds. I accept these burdens knowing no fear. I accept these burdens as an angel of the Emperor.
Yep, that is just...
Sheathe my form in this second skin.
The
this
black
veil
carapace.
of machine muscle and false nerves.
The black carapace.
Stand firm against the alien, the mutant, the heretic. I grant no mercy. I give no ground.
Not the needles in the spine. That's how they interface with their armor, unfortunately. That's exactly how they interface into their armor. That's how they control their power armor. It's literally bonded to them. Now, here's your sense of scale, chat. Here's your sense of scale. Here's your sense of scale. Give me a minute. Damn it. Fully armored space marine. Normal-sized human being. It's a... Ooh. Now, if that wasn't enough of a scale indicator for you, Space Marine's basic gun, the bolt rifle, has to be carried by 2 people. This is their basic gun. They can have different guns. This is just their basic firearm. It's got to be carried by 2 people. Oh, yeah. .511 versus 610.
I am iron. I am wrath. I am doom.
War. Oh. If that didn't give you the scale and the sense of dread that 40K is trying to convey, let me point out some very specific things, chat. You see this thing right here? How it's kind of a human with like different implants, and then later on you start to realize that that's not just a human? Or that used to be a human being? Because where's a good spot for this? Hang on a second, chat.
Angel of the Emperor.
Because, okay, this is a normal human being. He's got a weird mouthpiece, but that's a normal sentient human being, right? Right. Okay? This is a tech priest. He wears red because it is the color of the cult mechanicum. And he's got clearly cybernetic limbs, right? Right. Oh, Tom, are you actually doing the hotel lottery? Are you in the suite with us, or are you actually doing Magfest Hotel Hell? Because I could have sworn you were in the suite with us. Oh, I am in the suite. I'm still gonna try. Gotcha. Gotta have a backup. I get it. Gotta have a backup. I totally understand. Okay, here's where things start to get... Here's where you start to realize the Imperium is kind of fucked up. Right here, chat. Right here. That dude we saw earlier, that heavily augmented human being, that is just a torso attached to an arm. That is no longer a sentient human being. This is what Warhammer 40K lore refers to as a slaved servitor, or just a servitor in general. Because human beings of the Warhammer 40K universe no longer trust a sentient, self-sufficient machine. Instead, they will lobotomize human beings they deem unworthy, like criminals or heretics. Entirely lobotomize them, connect them to the machinery, and use the human's basic instincts, such as hearing and sight, as the interface for the machine itself. They will turn the unwanted of society into mindless, single, monotask machines. welcome to Warhammer 40,000. Everything is kind of fucked. Everything is kind of fucked. Cyberpunk 2077. That, but worse. That, but worse. And definitely without that hot anime chick I keep seeing. I've still yet to see the Cyberpunk anime, by the way. I don't know her name. I don't know what her character is like. I've just seen way more porn of that character than I've ever seen in my entire life. Because apparently the internet is very horny for that one character. But yeah, this animatic here captures just not just what it takes to arm a space marine, but it also shows just how wildly terrifying and dystopian. I'm sorry for pausing on that shot. The universe of Warhammer 40K actually is. Rebecca, is that her name? Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with that. The world of Warhammer 40K is absolutely fucked. Like, what the hell? And so it's with those legions of space marines that the Emperor is going to utilize to just basically carve a path across the galaxy and to retake every human colony and bring it back into the Imperial fold, because yay, humanity. Yes, I know it sounds very xenophobic. It is that way for a reason. It is that way for a reason. So, these thousands of genetically modified and essentially brainwashed soldiers, they're gonna need a commander, right? And the Emperor, as crazy good and crazy powerful and tactically sound as he is, he can't control all of these thousands upon thousands of space marines by himself. So that's when he initiates the Primarch project. He has divided the thousands of legions of space marines into 20 specific legions, and each legion is going to be led by a Primarch. Somewhat of an in-between, more powerful than a Space Marine, more powerful than an Adeptus Custodes warrior, but still less powerful than the Emperor himself. Essentially, the 20 Primarchs that the Emperor creates are his sons, and they refer to the Emperor as Father, right? And it's those 20 Primarchs that take command of the Emperor's legions and will fight alongside the Emperor to reunite the galaxy as a whole and bring back all of humanity under one banner, except it doesn't go that smoothly because fucking nothing in the Warhammer 40K universe goes to plan. First of all, you'll notice there are 20 Primarchs listed here. Only 18 are, but only 18 of them have some sort of history. That's because Legion 2 and Legion 11 were stricken from the record and their Primarchs killed for whatever reason, and just nobody ever talks about them anymore. No one knows what they did. No one knows why 2 Primarchs and their legions were just deleted from Imperial record. But to this day, in the modern lore of Warhammer 40K, to this day, we don't know what happened to those other Primarchs. We just know the 18 that remained. That's it. That's it. But, 18 Primarchs, still more than enough of a force, with their thousands of Space Marines divided up into 18 legions, plus the Titan legions of the Adeptus Mechanicus, plus the greater Imperial army. The Emperor's going to have no problem reuniting the galaxy, except the gods of chaos have been watching this whole time, and they realize that, wait, if the Emperor succeeds, we're not gonna have any more humanity to corrupt and toy with anymore. We desperately need to figure out a way to stop this. And what does the gods of chaos do? They take the 18 remaining Primarchs while they are still children, steal them all away from the Emperor's secret laboratory on the moon, and scatter them out into the wider galaxy in an attempt to slow down, if not stop, the Emperor's march to reunite the galaxy under Imperial rule, under the Imperium of mankind, right? So the Emperor's just like, well, fuck. Fine, I guess I'll just lead the legions myself then. And so he goes from planet to planet, and eventually he starts finding his sons one after another, after another, after another. They're all of them have their own stories, which I really can't get into right now, but I'm going to point out one. And it's the first of his sons, the first Primarch he ever found, and who would eventually be his most favored son of the remaining 18. A man named Horus Lupercal, Primarch of the Luna Wolves Legion of Space Marines, eventually renamed into the Sons of Horus Legion. Horus Lupercal, even amongst his brothers, is said to have been the greatest of their number. The most tactically sound, the strongest, the fastest, the best of the remaining 18 Primarchs. So much so that the Emperor himself bestowed upon Horus the title of War Master. What did that mean? What does that mean? Well, the title of War Master basically gives Horus the same authority as the Emperor himself. Any order given by Horus is as if the Emperor himself has given that order. Now, why did the Emperor give Horus such an important title? Because the Emperor was leaving the front lines. At this point in the Great Crusade, all the remaining Primarchs have been found, except for this motherfucker right here, and I'll get to him eventually, because he's got his own story. But at this point, most of the galaxy has been reconquered. Humanity, the Imperium of Man, is starting to recover from a galactic-wide war, and they're starting to reintegrate themselves into Imperial society. So the Emperor's like, okay, I need to start thinking about the future. And the Emperor's big project is making a human section of the Webway, so that they can safely go throughout the galaxy and conquer even more parts of the galaxy, unknown parts of the galaxy, etc., etc., etc. Because the Emperor wants to eventually bring the fight to the gods of chaos within the warp. Because the Emperor has known about the gods of chaos for some time. He's like, I need to deal with them. I need to deal with them sooner rather than later, or else they're gonna cause havoc and undo everything I've ever done. I'm gonna leave my best son in charge of the Imperial army as a whole. I'm going to go back to Terra, and I'm going to start working towards that goal. Now, a few of his sons, Horus included, are just like, yeah, that's a sound idea, father. Well done. You know, I'll take care of things here. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about the Imperial army. We'll keep the Great Crusade going. You go do your own thing back on Terra. I'm sure whatever it is very important. Some of the other Primarchs were just like, wait, why? why does Horus get all the accolades? Why is our father leaving us in the front lines like this? This is, I don't know if this is a really good idea, but whatever. And then the unthinkable happens. The unthinkable happens because Horus Lupercal, the best and strongest of the remaining Primarchs, falls to the sway of chaos. He becomes the champion, the mortal champion of chaos. Blessed by all 4 chaos gods, he leads 9 of his brothers in rebellion against the Emperor and all that his father had built. This is the genesis of the one singular event that would tear the galaxy in half. This is the beginning of the Horus Heresy. Remember when I said that humanity had a big hand in shaping what the galaxy currently looks like in the Warhammer 40K timeline? This is it. The Horus Heresy is it. I can't get into the Horus Heresy because there is a lot that goes on in the Horus Heresy, and it's probably going to be its own stream. But the Emperor comes to blows eventually, after a years-long campaign, comes to blows with the man he called Son, Horus. And at this point in the battle, at this point in the Horus Heresy, Horus is so taken by chaos, he is so in the throe of the chaos gods, he kills one of his own brothers. He slays... hold on. I keep forgetting his name, I'm sorry. Sanguinius. He slays Sanguinius, the Primarch of the Blood Angels Legion of Space Marines. Because Sanguinius was also gifted with foresight, and he saw what would become of Horus, and he himself tried to stop it. And he managed to reach Horus before the Emperor did. And Horus, being Horus, was just like, brother, you don't have to do this. You don't have to throw your life away in the service of a father who doesn't care. Join me. Join me, and you and your legion will be as powerful, more powerful than you could ever be. And Sanguinius, loyal to a fault, knowing that he has foreseen his own death at the hands of a man he called brother, still says, no. No, I have one job to do right now. I need to try and stop you. Sanguinius fails, but that opens the door for the Emperor to come in. Because at this point, Horus is so blessed by the Chaos Gods, not even the Emperor can touch him at first. But with Sanguinius' death, the Emperor knows now. Upon seeing one of his sons lying dead at the feet of his favored son, the Emperor says, no. You're irredeemable, Horus. I don't have to just stop you, I have to end you. And after a massive pitched battle in the control room of Horus's personal flagship, despite being heavily wounded in the process, the Emperor defeats Horus. The Horus Heresy is ended, but not all is well, because the Emperor of Mankind was so badly wounded in that confrontation that he must be interred into a machine known as the Golden Throne. A machine that's intended to keep him alive, to keep his physical body alive, and therefore keep his soul anchored to the real world. That was over 10,000 years ago. This This is what remains of the God Emperor of mankind currently in Warhammer 40,000. This is all that is left. If I can quote the most recent rulebook and the most recent lore drop for Warhammer 40K, there are only 2 living cells left within the body of the Emperor. One in his body and one in his brain. That's it. But despite being just a skeleton with 2 functioning cells, he is still the most powerful psychic human in history. How do we know this? Because they use the psychic light from the Emperor as basically a lighthouse to guide ships through the warp. Dude only got 1 brain cell. He's like me for real. Think about it. The Emperor's the ultimate gamer. Spends all day in his chair. He's only got 1 brain cell. Still knows what's going on in the world. Bro. Bro, for real though? Okay, but here's the macabre. Here's the fucking macabre thing about all this. Humanity wants to keep the Emperor alive because they need to keep the Astronomicon beacon alive. So every single day, daily, for the past 10,000 years, the Emperor has been interred upon the Golden Throne. 1,000 Psykers are rounded up, led via procession to the Golden Throne of Terra, to the feet of the Emperor himself, and are sacrificed to help keep the psychic link that the Emperor has with his body intact. Every day, 1,000 souls die to keep what's left of the Emperor functioning. Barely functioning, mind you. Because the Golden Throne was never meant to be a permanent solution to the Emperor's problem. In fact, this was never what the Golden Throne was meant for. The Golden Throne was meant to use the Emperor's psychic energy to stabilize the human portion of the webway. It was never meant it was never meant as a life support system for the Emperor's corpse. No, not at all. Absolutely not. This is just what they made it into. So Muriel, hello, welcome to stream. What's going on? You've just caught me. You've just caught me in the middle of a deep dive into Warhammer 40K lore. We've gotten all the way past the beginning of Warhammer 40K, where we've gone all straight into the Horus Heresy and the Space Marines and the God Emperor of Mankind and stuff like that. Yeah, today we've been doing a deep dive into Warhammer 40K lore, and it is absolutely wild. I've been wanting to do a stream like this for a little bit, and I'm kind of glad I finally got off my ass and did it, because it's fucking cool. Warhammer 40K is, for those of you who don't know, Warhammer 40K is a tabletop game, like a tabletop miniatures game, but it has some of the wildest lore I've ever seen in any game system, physical or to otherwise, because at this point, Games Workshop has taken Warhammer to not just a tabletop game, but to also to video games. There's video games abound. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry about that. Video games abound for all the Warhammer properties now. It's absolutely crazy. How much longer am I going for? Oh, what time is it? 7:20? I usually stream for 3 hours, 3.5 hours at most. So yeah, I might. At the very least, I'm gonna be going for. I'm gonna be going for at least another 20 minutes. At least. We'll see. We'll see how much longer, because there's still much more lore to go from here. But thank you for popping in to stream. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, the Emperor's dead. Somewhat. The rebellion was stopped. But now the Imperium is sort of fractured a bit. Because humanity just doesn't know when to stop. The age of the Imperium... The age of the Imperium is basically where Warhammer 40K as a game system picks up in the lore of the wider universe. You have all these different factions vying for power because they all see that the Imperium is weakened. The forces of the Imperium are desperately trying to hold on to what they have left, whereas all of these different Xenos races are looking at the Imperium and just be like, huh, cool, easy pickings, okay, let's go. They have to deal with the forces of chaos trying to retake what was lost after the Horus Heresy. You have the Eldar who are trying to stop both Chaos and the Imperium because they view the Imperium as weak and they can't do anything. The Dark Eldar are raiding what's left of Imperial holdings. The Orcs are just raiding everybody. They don't care, they just want to fight. The Necrons are starting to wake up and they're just like, all of these younger races are vying for planets that we conquered eons upon eons ago, and it's just like, okay, well, I guess it's time for us to start waking up and reconquering what's ours. Show the young whippersnappers what's what for. The poor fucking Tau Empire are just like, hi, we're new. We would like our own empire, please and thank you. The Tyranids are just running into the galaxy at this point, just like, I don't know what's going on right now. All I know is I must feed. All of you look delicious. I'm going to eat all of you at some point. And it's at this point in the timeline where something very, very, very terrifying is discovered about the Golden Throne of Terra. The light of the Astronomicon is starting to fade. Tech priests are called from Mars to Terra to figure out why. Yeah, exactly. They take a look at the Golden Throne, and the news is grim. 10 millennia have passed since the Emperor was interred upon the Golden Throne. And the Golden Throne is discovered to have irreparable failures within it. This machine is so old, the current tech priests of Mars have no idea how to fix it. And it's at this point where humanity is on the brink of collapse that the 13th Black Crusade succeeds where 12 others have failed. The Golden Throne runs on Microsoft Excel. Right? God damn it, Microsoft. So, rewind. When Horus's little rebellion failed, right? When Horus's rebellion failed, who took his place was a general, his right-hand general, Abaddon. Ezekiel Abaddon. He goes on crusades, what are known as Black Crusades throughout the galaxy, because he goes in the Eye of Terror. He takes what Chaos forces are left, rallies them together, and he's like, okay, I know we failed now, but trust me, I got a plan to fix this shit. It takes him 12 crusades to do so, but he finally gets his shit together. So he is the new crowned champion of chaos, is Ezekiel Abaddon, right? So he, on the 13th Black Crusade, he finally manages to do what he had been trying to do for 12 crusades, and that is to break the planet of Cadia. Now, you're probably asking yourself, Chef, what the hell is so important about the planet of Cadia? Cadia is a planet that is positioned directly in front of the Eye of Terror. And as such, it has to be staffed basically planet-wide with all sorts of elements from the Imperial Army. Garrisons of Space Marine chapters, battalions in the tens of millions of Imperial Guard are stationed on Cadia, and they deal with raids from demons and chaos forces on a daily, hell, sometimes even on an hourly basis, because they're next to the planet of Cadia. Or next to the planet of Cadia is next to the Eye of Terror. And they've been repulsing raids on the planet for millennia. Mostly because of these mysterious-looking structures known as Cadian pylons. And these are dotted all over the planet. And for whatever reason, these pylons negate and nullify the effects of the warp planet-wide, which is why Cadia and all of its defenders have been able to survive for 10 millennia, beating back the forces of chaos and all of Abaddon's incursions. Until number 13, because with number 13, Abaddon creates a warp storm so large, he overloads the Cadian pylons. The Cadian gate is finally broken. And the planet of Cadia itself is torn asunder. The Eye of Terror finally opens, and the Great Rift is formed. This thing that I showed earlier, because Cadia fell, because Cadia was destroyed, this formed. Because this is where Cadia was, right? Because Cadia broke, the Great Rift formed, and the Imperium, the age of the Imperium Nihilus begins. Now, a note about Cadia, because this has become quite a quite a meme recently in modern Warhammer 40K, in the modern fandom. Because the forces on Cadia, located on Cadia, have been repelling chaos for so long and have been basically getting into war on a daily basis, they are some of the best soldiers the Imperium can produce. And they will keep fighting no matter what kind of injury they sustained, right? Cadia being destroyed the planet literally being torn out from underneath their feet. The Cadian regiments of the Imperial Guard stood their ground and kept on fighting. With the battle cry, the rallying cry being, as long as we still stand, Cadia stands. And it is a phrase that has been repeated both in lore as a rallying cry for Imperial troops, but also as a meme in the Warhammer 40K fandom. King Fisher, thank you so much for the 4-person raid. Hello, welcome everybody. What's going on? Hi. Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome. What's going on, y'all? Hope you had a wonderful stream, Kingfisher. Hope you've had a wonderful stream. Thank you for that new follow. I am a Night Fury. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. What were you up to, dude? Was it more Alfredo Souls? Tell me it was more Alfredo Souls. Tell me it's more Alfredo Souls, my dude. Because oh man, that looks like a real fun time. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the lair. My name is NJChef. I am a Cosmic Dragon VTuber. Hold on a moment. Let me face you all directly. Hello everyone. My name is NJChef. I am a Cosmic Dragon VTuber. Welcome to the lair. If you feel like following or subscribing and becoming one of my lovely kobolds, you can do so. I do appreciate it. Welcome everyone. You've caught me in a very fun stream, actually. You've caught me in a stream I've been wanting to do for a little bit, actually. We're currently doing a deep dive into Warhammer 40K lore. If you're as big of a Warhammer 40K fan as I am, we've gone through all of the hits so far. We've gone through the Horus Heresy, we've gone through the Great Crusade, we've gone through... I'm speed running the lore right now because it's basically an introductory episode. We've gone through all the different factions of Warhammer 40K. Right now I'm explaining the fall of Cadia. So you've come at a very interesting time. You joined stream at a very interesting time. Welcome everyone. Welcome. If you like what I do, I am a variety streamer. I stream all different kinds of games. A game you might see a lot from me is Destiny 2, although I am on a miniature break from it at the moment, but I play Destiny 2 quite a bit here. I play other games like Monster Hunter, Hollow Cure. Sometimes I get together with a bunch of other my friends from multiplayer games, like Gundam Evolution. Gundam Evolutions have been really fun. Those are all my socials right there. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on YouTube. I have started streaming on YouTube as well. Friday, as a matter of fact, is our next stream on YouTube. We're going to be streaming Hollow Cure on Friday. And tomorrow's stream is going to be... Oh boy! Tomorrow's stream, you are going to get to see me be scared out of my mind tomorrow, chat. You can get to see me be scared out of my mind tomorrow. Oh, there we go. Chat's finally catching up. I don't know what happened there. Thank you again for the raid, Kingfisher. Tomorrow's stream, we are going to be... I see what you're doing there, Mir. Oh, you sneaky little spy. I see what you're doing there. Thank you so much for guiding the raid on over this way. I appreciate it. Chat was freaking out so bad we couldn't post a raid message for like 5 minutes. I don't know what happened there. I'm very sorry about that. Kingfisher, but thank you so much for the raid regardless. Thank you. Yeah, you're being a little sneaky. You're being sneaky. I see you. I appreciate it though. But yeah, tomorrow's stream is gonna be a little wild because I'm gonna be continuing my playthrough of the Mortuary Assistant tomorrow, and my regulars in chat can testify. Oh, that game gets me. I've been... Ooh boy. Yeah. mortuary assistant's scary. Chat. Mortuary assistant's quite scary. Oh boy. Oh boy. Miri's soon to be VTubing Seal. Well, that's fantastic. That's awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I wish you all the luck on starting that journey. Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it. But yeah, do toss a follow if you like what I do. Do toss a sub if you really like what I do. I do appreciate it. I recently only just hit 100 plus followers here on Twitch, which I'm very amazed and thankful for. Excuse me again, my goodness. My next big milestone, chat, I don't know if I've actually talked about it with you at all, but my next big milestone is 50 YouTube subscribers, because I'm currently at 48. I'm currently at 48. We're getting our way there. We're making our way there, chat. We're making our way there. So today in Alfredo Souls, killed the Tower Demon, killed the Vanguard Demon, got the shield that regenerates health, and got the regen ring. Hey, very nice. Very nice. That's fantastic, Kingfisher. And Miri got some homework done. That's also good. That's also quite good, yes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. But yeah, I'm in the middle of a Warhammer 40K lore deep dive right now. The beginnings of a Warhammer 40K lore deep dive, because I definitely want to do more, because there's a lot of lore in Warhammer 40K to cover. And we've literally only just scratched the surface from where we are now. So, yeah, thank you again. Thank you again so much for the raid, for bringing your community on over, Kingfisher. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Where were we? Where were we? Oh, right. We are at the end. We were close to the end of M41. Thank you for the 100 bits, Kingfisher. Holy cow, dude. You're so generous today. I appreciate it. The most important step of the run happened last night, where we found out we have an arrow vendor. Ah, very nice. Found someone selling them for half the price. Even better. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you so much. Again, Kingfisher, for bringing your community in. I do so appreciate it. I need to desperately take a drink. Give me a second right now, because I've been talking almost nonstop for 3 hours now. Holy mother of God. Ugh. Oh boy. Thank you again for the 100 bits, Kingfisher. Tell about the saddest boys, the Lamenters. Yeah. Oh, the Lamenters. Oh, the Lamenter chapter of Space Marines. Oh dear. Just bad luck all around. I know. The Space Marines, like each faction, let me tell you, each faction is gonna get their own, probably their own stream at this point, because Warhammer 40K lore is just that diverse. Holy moly. There's an entire Adeptus Ridiculous episode on them. It's so good. I have seen that episode, and I agree, Kingfisher. It's very good. Let's see here. Pull me on for Salamanders tonight. Dude, that's my chapter as well. Of course I'm going to get you on for Salamanders tonight. Are you kidding me? That's my chapter. That is literally the first Warhammer 40K army I ever assembled. Chat, we're taking a detour again. Hold on. Chat, we're taking a detour again. Okay, so what happened to the Space Marines after the Great Crusade and all the way up to present day? They're no longer legions anymore. They're chapters. Where legions numbered in the tens of thousands, chapters are hard-locked at 1,000 Space Marines. They are locked in at 1,000 Space Marines, but that's still more than enough for most armies, because they're that elite. My chapter of Space Marines, the one as I gravitated towards and have been playing as a tabletop army since 5th edition, are these boys right here. The Salamanders chapter of Space Marines. Chat, you remember when I said earlier that there's basically no quote-unquote good guys in Warhammer 40K? The salamanders are as close as you can get to having a just basic good faction in Warhammer 40K. The salamanders, because the salamanders espouse self-sufficiency, you know, being able to fight for yourself, to pick yourself up and forge, quite literally forge, a better path for humanity. To that extent, while most 40K Space Marine chapters will live apart from humanity because they either see themselves better than humanity or above humanity, no. The Salamander Space Marines chapter lives with their human communities on their chapter planet. And they actually build a bond with humanity. The Salamanders chapter Space Marines is the closest you can get to an actual good faction in Warhammer 40K. And that's honestly kind of why I love them. That's honestly kind of why I love them. Because they actually give a damn. They actually give a damn. Because they don't want to forget they themselves were once human, right? So they live alongside humanity. So it's just like, oh, okay, yes. This is why we have to protect humanity. We were once them. We may be better than them now, but let us not forget where we came from. That's just really fucking cool to me. Like, honestly, that's really fucking cool. That I love their color scheme. Because you've got green and black and gold. And you've got the fire and anvil motifs all over the place. The Drake's head of the salamander itself. It's really, really neat. And also, the Salamander's Primarch, Vulcan, actually really chill dude. Very, very cool dude. Like, Vulcan in his youth. Look at this Giga Chad. Look at this Giga Chad. I'm sorry, but look at him. Vulcan, actual badass. Holy shit. Vulcan was such a great Primarch. Like, he can... His hammer blows could shake a fucking Titan. And oh yeah, by the way, big secret about Vulcan. Vulcan is a perpetual. Vulcan is functionally immortal. He could die many, 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 many times. And he did die many times during the Horus Heresy. During the betrayal at the Drop Site Massacre on Istvan V. He was tortured to death innumerable times by his brother, Conrad Cruz. He came back from all of that. He came back from all of that because he is a perpetual and he's functionally immortal. And god damn it, Games Workshop, if you can bring back Gilliman, you can bring back Vulcan, for God's sake. If you can bring back Papa Smurf, you can bring back the Giga Chad that is Vulcan. Okay? Okay. For fuck's sake, Games Workshop, I beg of you. If you have to bring back another Loyalist Primarch, make it Vulcan. Please. The lore writes itself. He's still alive somewhere. He is still alive somewhere in the galaxy. For the love of fuck. I digress. I digress. And put Jakti Khan on a bike. Yeah, no, for real though. What the fuck? Oh, excuse me. But yeah, that is just step one of what is going to be a pretty much a recurring series at this point. It's going to be a recurring series of streams on this channel, is the fact that I want to continue doing deep dives in in Warhammer 40K lore, in terms of just all the different factions, because literally every faction probably deserves its own stream at this point, because that is just how diverse of like the background lore is for Warhammer. It's absolutely wild. And like, I'm full chat. We're definitely gonna be returning to this at some point. 100% we're gonna be returning to this at some point. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. We've literally only just scratched the surface. In over 3 hours worth of this stream, we've only just scratched the surface of Warhammer 40K lore. Ugh. And I thank you all for joining me today on what is going to be the first of many. The first of many. Which chapter Space Marines painted the Mona Lisa? The Blood Angels. Yeah, I can see that. The Blood Vinky? Woo! Alright, chat, what do you think? 3 hours? How long have we been streaming right now? 3 hours and 16 minutes, and we've only just started our descent into the lore of Warhammer 40K. Good God almighty! Ooh. You know, part of me really wanted to keep on going, but like, I've been talking for over 3 hours now, and I'm just like, Warhammer 40K is absolutely fucked up. No, you're right, Iyashi. You're absolutely right. Warhammer 40K is horribly, horribly fucked up. It is fucked up and messed up in ways that, like, if you start thinking about it too much, like, man, 40K is just the worst to live in. Because people are always like, oh, what fictional world or universe would you like to live in? And whenever people say, oh, I think I could survive in the 40K universe, I just want to grab them by the shoulders and be like, no, you fucking can't. You will die horrendously in ways you didn't think it was possible for a human being to die. No, absolutely not. I love 40K as a game system. I love the aspect of just like physically building your own army and painting up the miniatures and rolling dice against your friends for an afternoon's worth of a Warhammer tabletop game. I don't want to fucking live in the 40K universe. That is absolutely horrible. Absolutely no. Raiding aliens and demons and psychic monstrosities. No. Absolutely not. Count me out. Count me the fuck out. Hell no. Chat, you've been wonderful tonight. Thank you so much for joining me on what probably on the surface sounds like mad rambling, but is a game system and a set of lore I absolutely love. No, seriously, some of the Warhammer 40K novels, really good reads. Fantastic reads. Good sci-fi. Honestly, very good sci-fi. But yeah, the lore is messed up, but the game itself is very, very fun. One of these days, as soon as I can get a second camera set up, or at the very least a different setup, model building and model painting streams will return to the channel 100%. Because that's something I did before I got my avatar set up, and it's something I absolutely do want to bring back. Just sort of diversifying the streams and the content you can see on this channel. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Kobolds for coming out to the lair tonight. Kingfisher, thank you very much for bringing your community by and joining us. I do appreciate it so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me tonight for tonight's stream. Tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh boy. We're gonna continue our playthrough of the Mortuary Assistant, which means I'm gonna scream like a banshee again, because that game absolutely terrifies me. That game scares me, chat. That game scares me so much. And then on Friday, also at 4 p.m. Eastern, we're back on YouTube. We are back on YouTube. NJChef VTuber on YouTube. We're going to be back for another YouTube stream, and we're going to be streaming HoloCure on Friday. And I might just challenge myself. I might just challenge myself to pick up level 5 Halu probably as early as I can, because why the hell not? Why the hell not? I need more holo coins for upgrades anyway. I might as well. Alright, thank you everyone so much for joining me in the lair tonight. We are gonna send a raid over to my good friend and probably my favorite Death Knight ever, Obsidia. We are going to be raiding Obsidia tonight, and she is doing some, let's see. Oh, she's making some IRL art. Oh, that's nice. Hey, check this shit out, y'all. You're gonna get yourselves an Obsidia hand reveal tonight. Hello. So do have fun with Obsidia stream. Have fun with the Death Knights. Oh, I got a fun raid message for y'all. Do me a favor, give her a 40k raid, and I will see y'all tomorrow for the continuation of the Mortuary Assistant. I might have to fix myself a stiff drink. Oh god, I might have to fix myself an alcoholic drink for that stream, chat. I'm not gonna lie, ooh, that game gets me. All right. Have fun. I'm gonna go eat dinner now. I'm starving. I'm so hungry right now. Have fun with Obsidia. Pass on the love. Pass on the good vibes. Have a good night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.